Alright, here's another tip for you. I was at Harbor Freight and I needed get new lenses for my welding helmet, and I couldn't remember what size that mine was. So you always buy the larger size. That way you can trim it down to fit. So obviously I should have bought the other size, but I couldn't remember. I didn't want to get the small ones because our Harbor Freight's about, I don't know, about a 30-minute drive. So I just decided to get the bigger ones. That way it'd be safe, so it's easy enough to cut this down. So we'll do that. Alright, we just scored the two edges off. If you've never cut plexiglass, you only have to score it a few times with a straight line with a razor or something, and then it just kind of breaks off. So there it is, good as new. We'll get this installed, and I really can't believe I haven't done this sooner. I mean, this one's really pretty bad. So that's what it's supposed to look like. So I can probably be able to see now. So anyway, these are at Harbor Freight. These are $10 for a pack of 6. So totally worth it. I've been struggling for my own fault, really. I mean, it's terrible. So a cheap way to fix your sight. So there we go. All right, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna take a break from the floor pans today. They're all in and welded. The only thing I need to do is go down and smooth the welds down. I don't want to do that today. I don't want to get, that's really messy, and it's just not a lot of fun. And I've got to clean my house later. Super Bowl's tomorrow, so I don't have a full day to work out here. So I'm gonna do some of the easier stuff. Patchwork on the bodies here. I want to replace this panel, but when I cut this to open it, it's going to do two things. It's going to give me access to grease everything inside, but also it's going to let me fill the antenna hole right here too. I'll be able to reach in there and hammer that down and get it kind of smooth. But the other thing you need to do when you put a piece in like this, it's important. I've got the piece pre-made already, so I know where it kind of goes. But one thing you should do, this edge, the door lines up with this. It's rusted there, but the bottom of it's solid, so it's where it's supposed to be factory. So that edge, it's important to mark that somehow, because once you cut that away, you wouldn't know how far in or out it was without the door being on it. My door's off, and I don't want to put it back on for that, so I just want to get it close. So what I did, I found there's a solid spot, flat spot back there. I just put a piece of tape on my ruler, and I can put it in, and that'll give me a ballpark. Get me within a 1/16 of where it's supposed to be when I put it back on. So it's important to mark things like that. You really should mark it in or out too, but it's pretty straight going down it. So I think I'll be okay there. And again, this is not a restoration to a show truck. This is just a functional truck, so that'll be good enough. But I do want it close. So like I say, it's important to mark things like that before you get ahead of yourself. So okay, before I get started cutting this out, real quick, a couple weeks ago my cutoff wheel died, so I bought 2 new ones. I would do a side-by-side comparison, kind of a price test to see which one lasts longer if they are equal. So there's the 2 that I bought. This is the DeWalt. This one's $80 and this one was $40, so it's half the price. They're the same amp, basically they're the same machine. They're both lightweight. And these are the lower end models, which are lighter, which I like because it's sometimes hard on my wrist. Especially these kind with the trigger that's in the rear of it. Those kill my wrist. I really hate these kind. It's okay, I've got a wire brush on this one. It's okay for that. It has its place, but overall, I like these better. And they make the ones with the trigger on the bottom, which usually you have to hold the trigger the whole time. You can't let it go. I don't like that either because I like to turn this on and be able to move this around in different positions to get different angles and stuff. So also, I've switched to these. I like working with these like mechanics gloves. But the sparks from these things just eat them up. They just burn them up like instantly. I mean, in one day you just go through a pair of gloves in a day. So I'm trying this kind with the rubber on the outside as well as the inside, or the inside, the outside. I'm hoping the sparks will bounce off of these and it won't chew through them as fast. These are Harbor Freight. They're like $4, so they're not that expensive. But with leather gloves, when you're doing this tight work right here, it's hard to be able to feel with the leather gloves. And with these, I can work without taking them on and off, so I'm going to try these, but they may still burn through. I don't know. We'll see. And the other thing I've been using, I got at their local thrift shop. These are medical shields. I got these for $1 a piece. I got a couple hundred of them. But these work really good for grinder, for keeping things out of your eyes as far as dust and sparks. They're not safety by any means. I mean, it's flimsy, so I still wear safety glasses underneath these. But these don't fog up at all, and these are really for like blood splatter and things like that. But they work really good for grinding dust. they don't fog up at all, and I hardly even notice I'm wearing it. Sometimes I don't know if I am wearing it, so I have to double check sometimes. So I really like these for grinding, but again, they're not a safety thing at all, so they're not a substitute for that, but they do work for keeping you from going to the eye doctor. So, all right, let's get this cut out and start working on this area here. Okay, if you ever bought a body kit and it comes with one of these, you're like, what's this thing really for? It is designed specifically for its 1966 Ford. It's an antenna delete. It goes in there perfectly, perfect radius, and you can hammer it down, you can put your piece in. So that's what this was specifically made for, this one function. Now, I'm just kidding, obviously, but it fits in there perfect like it was made for it. So anyway, I got this piece cut out, so I'm getting ready to weld it in. I just painted the back side of it, so we'll get this piece in, finish that, and then we'll get this piece in. Okay, just use a little magnet to hold the piece in once I got it, and make sure it's flush, and I put one little tag in it. Now I can pull that off and just work around it like normal. One tools that I like when I work on those, like little picks, they come in different sizes. These are good to get in and push down, or if the tip's small enough, you can get in between and pull up on it if you need to pull up or push down. So these are really good when you're working on small pieces, or any piece really. This just allows you to get in and push and pull on it in a crack. So these are something you need when you're doing body work, metal work like this. So anyway, get this welded up, smooth down, and then we'll move to this piece. Okay, another quick tip, I got this welded in. Whenever you're grinding your glass, you should always cover your glass up, because the sparks of these don't harm a lot of things, but they eat right in the glass and they'll etch your glass really easily. I'm getting a new front windshield because it's already got some marks in it, so I'm not worried about this windshield. But definitely don't grind near a windshield. It'll pit it up, sort of like sandblasting. So one tip that a lot of people don't know, so always keep that in mind. I guess another tip I'm going to talk about, when you do metal like this and you grind it, you just want to grind, I say, the mountain of the weld, the part that sticks up. So you don't want to sand this whole area. You don't want to sand this green paint or the new piece of metal. You only want to grind away the high parts. And then after you get those level, then you go by with a flapper wheel and smooth it all out. A lot of people I see, they'll just grind this whole area. If you do that, you're cutting good metal, taking it away. So you just want to get rid of the high parts. You want to take your time and get that right. Okay, at this point I'm starting to hit the old metal and the new metal past the weld. So with this I'm done. I've got it all down. Now I can take the flapper wheel. Now I can lightly sand everything and it should blend right in. See, that came out pretty good. It's pretty smooth, pretty level. You can see right there's one little small depression right there, but I mean, you can almost fill that with primer. So, and again, if this was a show truck, I could take the time and really work that out and probably get it perfect. But for what this truck is, that's going to be good enough. You can see it just barely has a little dent right there. I may pry on it a little bit more, but overall that's fine. So we can move on. Okay, now for something completely nuts. To get I got the panel pretty much fitted in pretty good, but this corner back in there, the only way I'm going to get to that to weld it is if I remove a section of the door, that little square I got with a Sharpie there. I'm going to have to cut that section out in order to be able to get this welded nice in the back. There'll be no way I can do it otherwise. So it's no big deal. I'll just cut it and then it'll go right back in and weld it back in. So it's kind of minor, it's kind of a pain, but it's necessary because I want this to be watertight. I don't want more water getting there and rusting, so not that big a deal. I know a lot of times when people build trophy trucks and stuff, they cut the entire roof off the car to weld the roll bar, then they weld it back on. So this will be kind of minor, but anyway, it's something necessary. Okay, I did this off camera, but I got this piece in. It fit pretty good. There's that piece I cut out so I could weld all this nice and solid, so I was able to get in there and do that. I'll get ready to put this piece in next. All my fitment's right. Comes right to the edge like it's supposed to. Straight up and down there, and it's straight across the bottom, so it should be where it's supposed to be. I did have this contour, didn't go quite right, so I had to split this a little bit to change it a little bit. Because there's so much welding in there, it did draw in a little bit, so I will have to put a little filler right there, but it's not too bad. It's just probably a 1/16 or so. It's all down a little bit. I think I can push a little bit from the back side on it, so I may be able to draw it out some. There's a vent on the other side, so. But for right now, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to worry about it. If I can push it out, I'll push it out. If not, I'll put a little filler there. But overall, that's pretty good. So we got this front top corner done today. So I'll get this little piece in now, and then call it a day. Okay, it's not bad. I can live with it. I got that piece back in, smoothed out. Everything's smoothed out, everything. So got a little low spot there. Like I say, basically where it welded, it shrunk in a little bit. So I can push it from the back side, but I'll probably just put a little filler on it. But everything's nice and straight, so I'm good with it. My bottom's pretty much done too. I've got some more welding to do there, some from the bottom side, but that'll take care of most of the passenger side or the driver's side. So, all right. Okay, today's goal is going to be to grind down all my welds, smooth those out on both sides. Try to get this patch panel in, which is not nearly as big as on the other side. And one other spot I'll show you on the other side. And on the driver's side, I want to cut this out. There's some rust there. I'll show you one thing you have to be careful on cars when you're welding to look at. I'll go on the inside and show you here. Okay, if you look close, that's my old fuse box. I'm replacing all of this with new. But it has one of these backers in it for insulation. But when you cut through that stuff will really catch on fire really easy. So you have to be careful with those. There's probably a better view of it. Right there, you can see it better. Like I said, that stuff is like an instant fire starter. So whenever you weld or grind around areas like that, just make sure you don't hit those areas because they'll definitely catch on fire. So if you were trying to weld behind any of this or grind in it, it could easily catch on fire. I've done it many times. That's why I know how dangerous it is. Okay, I got both floor pans in and grinded down for the most part. Got everything welded up. Got these cab corners done. So now that this is done, this is kind of phase one. I had to get the front of the cab solid. So I got the floor pans in, I got the cab mounts. What I need to do now is I'm going to cut these braces off. I think I'm done with them. It's as solid as it's going to be. I mean, it's pretty much all welded, so it's going to be what it's going to be. So the next thing, I'm going to cut these out, and then I'm going to take the pressure off of these and let it down and let the cab set on its mounts for the first time under its own weight and see what happens. So that's what's next. Okay, it seems to have gone good. It went down all the weights on both sides. Seems nice and solid. Nothing's moving in the pan, and the whole truck moves on it. So I think they're solid. I think we're good. So now I'm gonna take the straps off, and the next thing I'm gonna do, I told you a few weeks ago, I got a pair of seats. So before I start repairing this, I want to see if I need to modify the floor pan any for the seats. So if I do, I don't want to repair something I have to cut back out. So next step will be to just set the seats in here, see how they fit, if I have to do anything there, and then we'll be moving on to the rear rockers, or the rear cab corners. So that'll be the next thing. So let's go grab the seats and see what happens. Okay, I'm about to wrap this video up. I put the seat and the jumper in. They kind of work, but they're going to need a lot of work. They're not going to be a direct fit, which no seats are. I mean, I've put a lot of seats in other cars and they never just go right in. What I'm going to have to do, this floor pan is angled and the seats were made for a flat floor pan. This side is fine. I can drop this, but on the other side I'm going to have to take this off and run it just on the track. That'll drop it about 1.5 inches. That might be enough. If not, I can always take the tracks off and bolt them directly down to the pan if I have to, but I don't really want to get into that right now. I don't want to get sidetracked with the seats because it's going to be quite a bit of work. I just want to make sure they fit. And you can see with these seats, you can see there's one blemish in that. These seats were cheap, so I didn't worry about that. I'll put a patch or something over that. But these seats have the built-in shoulder harness into the seat, so that's why I chose these seats. That's what I liked about these. So I'll just add a little bit of safety to it. But anyway, it's going to work, and I like having a center console. And it gives me a compartment with a bunch of stuff in there, and that folds up. So anyway, I'm happy with the seats, but we'll work those in later. Since I'm kind of on a roll with the body work, I want to go ahead and jump to the rear cab corners. So that's what I'm going to do. That will start the next video. I'll go ahead and cut those off and get that started because I'm kind of on a roll. I have all my body equipment out, all the metal working and stuff, so I'm just going to keep on that. And we'll come back to the seats in the future. But anyway, thanks for watching, and that's going to wrap it up for now. So I am glad to have the front floor pans and cab mounts done, but I'm ready to move on to the rear. So I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.